Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to our council meeting tonight. A couple things before I call the meeting to order. Good to see Dr. John Hinton back on his feet, 2 feet. We appreciate it. Way to battle through. Him and his wife doing great. Good to see you, Dr. John. Councilwoman Bobo. Didn't that sound good? It does. I hear you. All right. So congrats. You're filling the unexpired term of Councilman Roberts, and I know you'll do a great job on this team. And then you'll get sworn in again, as Hardy said. Another thing, too, I know we sworn in a police officer today. I think Officer Pate. I think, what is he, 4th generation, 3rd, 2nd? It's a lot of Pates. 2nd generation, yeah. Mom and dad, I think. No, just dad. Yeah. So congrats to Officer Pate. He got sworn in today as our team member for the police department. So if everybody would, please stand. We'll go right into the prayer. And from the prayer, we're going to the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. McCullum, call roll, please.
Councilwoman Bobo. President Logan.
Here.
Councilman Hinton.
Here.
Councilman Davis. Councilman Hogg. Here. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 5 is approval of our agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the agenda in front of you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
Motion to approve.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Bobo.
We had a yes in the affirmative, Hardy.
Oh, we had? Okay. I can't see over there. I'm a little short fella. I can't see over there. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Davis. I'm sorry. Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item 6, visitors to address our council. We have 2 citizens who are formally signed to speak. The first is Mr. Bobby Herndon. Good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Herndon.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Bobby Herndon, 59254 4th Avenue, Northport. Madam Mayor, council members, Judge, I appreciate this opportunity. I know that as elected officials and us as other candidates who's running for office, we all want to see our city do great. We want Northport, Alabama to be the, as I've said many times, the preferred city anywhere to live, to shop, and to work. Well, I think we can do something about the work problem or work situation or the work enhancement pretty easily and pretty quickly. And what I'm talking about is the tier program. I know it's been discussed several times. Other cities our size, smaller than us, larger than us, have adopted the tier program. Northport's always had the problem of training people and then them getting better opportunities in other cities, which cost Northport a great deal of money. I guess what I'm asking tonight, I know y'all been discussing putting it in the budget, different things. I just wish that tonight you would affirm to everyone that yes, we're going to adopt the tier program. We are going to put it in our upcoming budget. I do not want to lose any other fine employees to other cities. We're always in competition with cities. We have to do everything that we can to entice people to be part of the city of Northport. And I believe this would help greatly, but I would appreciate a favorable response. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobby. Great idea. I think everybody on this dais can agree it's a no-brainer, just from an employee standpoint, going from T2 to T1. Again, action by council, budgetary item. again, I think that's something everybody here would thoroughly support. If I had to just bet a Coca-Cola, I guess, and then spoken to people in the communities around town, around Northport, and again, Jamie Dykes was one of them. She told me as of last week that she's a big supporter of T2 to T1. So thank you, Bobby. Thank you so much for that. And again, that'll be something council will definitely address. That is for sure. Especially these ladies and gentlemen who are sitting on this board as well. Very good idea you brought to the council. The second citizen is Mr. Glenn Dodd. He is with Dizzy Dean Fireworks. That means we're going to have a fireworks show afterwards. Hey, Glenn, thanks for coming. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Glenn Dodd, 5510 Anna Lane, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, 35406.
You want to annex into Northport? Is that what you're coming up in?
No, I don't want to do
Okay,
that.
all right, okay. All right, I'll just give you a chance.
I love Northport, but that's why I'm here, to not do that.
Okay, all right.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council, and everybody, for letting me come tonight. And hello, all of y'all, my neighbors. Hope it's some of my customers. I'm Glenn Dodd. I own Dizzy Dean's Fireworks. So I wanted to speak to you just a little bit tonight. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to buy 2.4 acres, which is right next to what used to be Lord of the Harvest Baptist Church. Now it's Word Community Church. And so I operate the largest volume fireworks store in West Alabama on that property now. And I've been doing business in Northport for about 16 years, very cooperatively. You've always helped me, and I think I've always done everything that I've tried to needed to do to do the best I can to be a good businessman in Northport. I'm interested in building a large fireworks store, sort of a superstore. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to buy that property, and then started thinking about it. But I thought that I'd have to come down and get the council to actually put that into the ordinance to have a permanent structure. About 2.5 years ago, I happened to notice in the ordinance that there's a little paragraph or two in there, and it says that you can have a permanent structure. So that got me to doing some planning, got me to doing some due diligence. And after that due diligence, I found out it was going to cost me about twice what I thought it was, and so I backed off for a while. But 1.5 years ago, I had a retooled plan, a little bit smaller plan, and all of you saw that except Christy, because you're so new. So we might just need to show you some pictures a little bit offline. I don't want to take any extra time. But everybody else has kind of seen what I wanted to do. So 1.5 years ago, I came to the pre-council meeting, presented that to you. Oh, and here's some of it now. And what I was looking for at that time is just to see, was there any red flags? Were any of you going to, kind of be opposed to anything? And Christy, this is a fireworks store down in Montgomery, and my whole purpose of showing that is to show it's not going to be anything garish. It's going to be a nice building. It'll look something like that. But anyway, presented to you guys, just looking to see if there would be any potential roadblocks, and you all said, no, we think it'll be okay. So I proceeded forward, but I didn't make it very far. Just after a little bit, the civil engineer, and this was about 1 year ago, said that I'm under the Carroll's Creek Water Authority, and that they didn't have but about half the flow rate that I would need to have the sprinkler system that, as I told you last time, I want to do, but also I found out since then it is required. But Carroll's Creek doesn't have the flow rate for me to be able to do that. And so they said, they gave me two remedies. One would be a $475,000 pump and tank. Don't want to do that. Or I could do $300,000 to tie into a line down at Martin Road. Don't want to do that. The one other thing they said was that that there is a main line, a water line coming down Highway 69 right in front of my property, and that if I could get the City of Northport Water Authority to let me tie into that without being annexed into the city limits, because I can't sell fireworks in the city limits, then that would be a possible solution. So I sat on that for a while and thought about it, and then after the first of the year, the beginning of this year, I met with McGifford and Associates. They sent me to Jay Logan, my friend. Jay's always been very supportive, and we talked, and Jay helped me. He sent me to Tony Roberts. He said he's the planning guy on the council. Go talk to Tony. Tony was very supportive as well. He advised me to write a letter to Hardy McCollum and just request what I just said, and also make it very clear that I am willing to pay any costs associated with that. I wrote that letter. It was dated February the 28th, so think about that just a second. I hand-delivered it to Mr. McCollum, and my understanding was that he would then talk to Ron Davis and get everything prepared to come to a vote of the council. So that almost happened last spring, and we all know what happened last spring. COVID came along. I knew that all of you would have a lot of concerns about that, and so I just sort of said, well, I'm not going to get in the way for a while. And went through my fireworks season. After the season, contacted Jay, and then wound up emailing Mr. McCollum, and he said, come before the council, and so that's why I'm here tonight, okay? So that's my end result is I would like to see a vote of the council to allow that. So let me stop here. I've got a couple more things that I'd like to say about that, but I'm tired of listening to myself talk, and I just wonder if you have any questions or comments for me at this point. If not, I'll proceed.
Mr. President, we have discussed it with staff today,
Mm-hmm.
and he does have a catch-22 in that he could annex into the city, but if he does, he can't sell fireworks, which is the whole point.
That was the mechanics behind his initial
right.
request of asking a special exception because nature of your business couldn't sell them inside the city limits. So I think when we talked first of this year, Glenn, and just to get Councilwoman Bobo up to speed, so there is a water line available on 69 North. I think there's an issue between domestic and fire water. I think not an issue, but an opportunity to tie in for.
Maybe what you're talking about is, as part of my request,
Yeah.
I'm also requesting that I still be able to be a Carroll's Creek customer, and then just have Northport water available if there ever was, God forbid, a fire.
Right.
Fire suppression.
Right. All right. So again, council, and again, Glenn, I appreciate you coming up, and I know Ms. Bobo just come on, so I think it probably will be in the best interest, and I think everybody is really supportive of you staying in Northport and doing business. First thing is we got to find mechanically how to make what you need, because there is that catch-22 run of him being a business who sells that fireworks that's restricted. It's restricted in the city limits, but he does need the water, and we've got a water main available on 69 North, and from there it's just an action of council. Again, that may be something we need to work through Hardy's office, your office, and council fairly quickly to have something on the next agenda, because it's not out of the realm of possibility. We have done that. It has to go to council.
Yes, sir. We had talked about that, and I think we can have something on the next agenda for that. What we would normally do, the city code allows the city to provide water to someone that's not in the city on a unanimous vote of the council.
That's right.
What we have done in the past is do that under certain circumstances. I think on what we would do on this one, since he could annex in, normally if someone needed water and couldn't annex in, we would require that if they could in the future annex in, that they be required to do that, or we would terminate their water services. In this situation, I think what we would recommend to the council to consider at the next meeting is to allow the water, take a unanimous vote, but if the use of the building were ever to change, he would either have to terminate the water service at that time or no longer make the water available. You'll give us, I think we can have something on the next agenda.
Right, I certainly would be willing to do that. That's very reasonable.
And that way, Glenn, it gives staff time to work through whatever small little hitches that they see, and then gives us time as far as council and mayor's office to kind of address it quickly so we can make that exception. It's not out of the realm. What really saved this whole thing is you in the nature of your business being fireworks.
Sure.
In my opinion. So if you would give us to the next meeting, that is Ron, that will be the 5th of October?
Yes, sir.
Unless something changes between today and the end of this month, but it will be the 5th of October, Glenn.
Sure.
Is that acceptable?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh,
And
this is 2.5 years in the making, so.
yes, sir.
Couple
And
more
and
weeks, not
COVID
gonna
and
hurt me.
COVID. So you got the patience of Job. We appreciate it. We appreciate you being patient. 5th of October, unless something changes, we should have this on the agenda for council consideration. But staff and I'll make sure we follow up with your office to at least get you up to speed. And again, just in the interest of having a new council member on board, we can get her office up to speed as well.
Sure. So can I have 2 more minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, I want to reiterate, I'm 100% willing to handle any costs that would be associated. But I sort of prepared a little speech in my mind. So, Jay, when we first talked about this, I kind of thought I was going to come and ask y'all to do me a favor. But the more I've thought about it, I'm not really asking y'all to do me a favor.
No.
I got this in the hands of the Lord. I can go either way. But I will say this, Coach Bryant said something one time, he said, I ain't never been nothing a winner. I've never been nothing but a winner. And, I'm just a little bit like that. I'd like to just tell you folks, I've been doing this here for 16 years, so I've got a good track record in Northport. But, when I was in elementary school, I won academic awards. I had a spelling bee at school. I won that. They sent me to the county. I won that. They sent me to the state. Can't win them all. But, when I was in high school, I was point guard on the basketball team. I was all-state track and cross country. Went to Alabama, lettered 4 years track cross country. Went to Birmingham. They have the Mercedes Marathon there now. They used to have the Vulcan Marathon. I won that as a senior at Alabama. Went to the Boston Marathon, finished in the top 2.5%.
Wow.
I'm going somewhere with this and almost done. I got my engineering degree. I worked for NASA. I left NASA to go full-time in the ministry. Was a youth pastor, built a youth ministry that touched every single middle school and high school in Madison County. And then, through that, learned the fireworks business. This year, in Albertville, Alabama, there's a youth pastor who did what I used to do, which is sell fireworks to raise money for his church. He raised $23,000 selling Dizzy Dean's fireworks. Think about that a second, a youth pastor. So that's what Dizzy Dean's does in the community. All right, so if I build this, then we're going to have a very nice building and structure that's air-conditioned, and people from all around the region, because I'm going to advertise it regionally. They're going to come to Northport, and they're going to come through Northport, and they're going to spend money along the way. And then they're going to come in my store, and they're going to spend money. All right, so revenues go up, profits go up, so I'm a winner. All those people that got this nice store to go in with air conditioning in the summer and heat in the winter and a shopping cart, and it's families going in there so they can celebrate. And they've got the best selection it's ever been in this part of the country. They got the best prices anywhere in the country. I win because of those profits. They win because of this nice store. And Northport wins because you get 1.5% of all those increased revenues. So I'm not here asking you for a favor. I'm asking you, let's win. Win, win, win.
I like that attitude. I like
I
it.
like your attitude, Jay, and you've been so helpful, and I appreciate you so much.
Hey, thank you for
I
choosing
sure
us.
did hate to see the election results, and hopefully you'll be back.
Well, God got a plan and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Point of personal privilege. I know I did not say this earlier when I called the meeting to order, so please forgive me. Councilwoman Bobo, just by virtue of her serving the unexpired term of Councilman Roberts, if it pleases Mayor and Council, I know Councilman Roberts was lead counsel in our admin or with Dr. John Hinton and also finance. So I didn't know if members of council had an issue with that. I think it may be just a really good idea to move her back into that same spot just to kind of get acclimated into admin, finance committee, and again, planning and zoning board. So you'll be our member for planning and zoning. So you'll get the full gamut of just all city. And so planning and zoning is where they really make the sausage. So there it is. So if, again, Mayor, Council, if everybody's okay with that, we'll get with staff and Hardy's office to kind of get you acclimated on admin committee as well as finance. So you're right in it. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President,
yes, sir.
If you're going to appoint her to planning and zoning, if you wouldn't mind take a vote on that for the
Sure.
record.
Absolutely. All right, I'll make a motion. Wait a minute. Yeah, I got to make sure she's okay with that. I don't want to throw it in. So planning and zoning, you'll be our council rep, Councilwoman. So basically, every meeting you'll be there, and you will get the full slate of all the functions of our planning and zoning board, working hand in hand with staff through development, through just normal citizens' requests as it relates to our planning functions and that other regulatory board that we have. So a lot of information, but I think you'll really like it. And again, I've served on it just for a year, and again, you get a year's worth of work in like a month. So it's robust, to say the least. So like Ron said, Ms. Bobo, it is action of the council. So if there's something you'd be willing to do, I do want you on admin and finance. I really think that with Tony leaving out and you working with Dr. Hinton, it'd be a really good team. So I didn't hear anything else. So okay, all right. So I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Hogg to allow Councilwoman Bobo to fill the unexpired term of Councilman Roberts on our Planning and Zoning Board as our council representative. That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. That's a second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
All right. Councilman Bobo, this is your opportunity to say no.
Yeah, this is your...
Councilman Bobo. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg. Yes. Motion carried, Mr. President.
Thank you. 7A1, unfinished business. It's a second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 14 of our Northport Municipal Code pertaining to the regulation of dangerous animals. Mr. Davis's office is handling this through our legal department. Ron?
Yes, Mr. President, this is simply restating the ordinance was passed a little over a year ago, and that now our animal control officer is not a sworn officer, so we just tweaked it a little bit and added a few provisions requested by Judge Patterson. So it's ready for a vote of the council.
All right, thank you. Again, I'll make a motion to adopt that ordinance amending Chapter 14, Article 7, Section 14-173, 174, and 176, and Section 14-179 of the Northport Municipal Code pertaining to dangerous animals. That's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hogg. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Bobo. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
New business 8A1 is a first reading of a revision of our ordinance for our 1-cent sales tax revenue usages. Again, this is it's an existing 1-cent sales tax that we recently passed. Staff is going to give us a brief synopsis, starting with legal and then from our admin personnel through Max. So, Ron?
Yes, sir. As you'll recall, about a year ago, Councilman Roberts was instrumental in trying to keep the 1-cent sales tax revenue separate from the general fund so that you as residents could see where your money was going. And he came up with an idea, and we massaged it where we would have 4 different categories of, and his word, I'll use it, and I like it too, 4 different buckets where these monies could go. As we have gone through this the first year, we're going to keep those same 4 buckets for this year, fiscal year 2020, that ran from last October through the end of this year. And like we did in the ordinance that was passed a year ago, this December, the city will report to its citizens how this additional 1 cent was used. And as we have worked through this, Tony came up with the idea, and the other councils agreed, that we need to make 2 changes to the ordinance. Now, this is going to be a first reading only. This will be placed on the website in the next day or 2. It's not only the ordinance, but also incorporated in the ordinance was the PowerPoint presentation that, if you were here, Tony made. That will be there, and that's incorporated in part of the new ordinance. And what we've done is going from 4 buckets to 3 buckets. We're going to put 2 together. There was some overlap, and the idea is starting on October 1st, we'll go under this new ordinance with 3 buckets. So that's the one change, and you can look at that and see what that would encompass in what's on the internet on our city's website. I'm not going to bore you with going through all that. It won't be voted on tonight, but it will be voted on or ready for a vote at the next council meeting. The second thing that's new in this, I think, is very important. As a lawyer, I always had to have two bank accounts. I'd have my firm bank account, and I'd have a trust account. That would be for clients' money, and the state bar is very careful and very strict on how you use that. And in effect, that's what this ordinance is doing. It is setting up a separate account for this extra 1 cent. Because it became apparent that, for example, if we're going to spend an extra $1 million on paving and striping, we may not be able to expend that in this fiscal year. So what it does, for example, if you spent $400,000 on paving this year, but you earmarked $1 million, then the remaining $600,000 would be placed in this separate account earmarked for paving and striping. And so you would have complete transparency for this, where this extra money went. We're going to keep up with it on the website, and so you can follow that this year, next year, so you can see, because it's just too easy to dump the money in the general fund. It just kind of filters away. But this way you can see what's actually being done with the extra 1 cent the city is doing. So to me, that's a very important aspect of this new ordinance. And we were going to create a tab on the website so you can look at that and see the different projects under these different categories and see what's being spent. As it's spent. Now, Max is going to show you what will be coming up on the website and give you an idea of how this will work.
Thank you, Ron. I'm gonna give the J. Logan cleaning it up a little bit. So we've got 4 buckets, went to 3. You gave a good example. If you spent $700K normally spent in the general fund through gas tax, keeping up with our existing ordinance, keeping that 10% required mark, that's one element of it. The other thing that I did hear you speak on was if you spent $500,000 in paving by end of this month, the remaining $1 million will be transferred to a special account earmarked for paving and striping. That way, it's clear. It's actually got some deliberate steps to it, and we can track it.
That's correct. Some of the projects are really going to expand. Like Max got us a grant for street improvements, and they're just letting the project now. But we have allocated, or if you're assuming you will do this again, nothing's going to be done tonight. We're just trying to get that information out there tonight. But some of the projects by the design will necessarily go over into next fiscal year.
So it's going to allow the council for some long-range financial planning if it's already, for example, downtown streetscaping you were mentioning. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ron. Max?
Yes, sir. So now that we have a better understanding of how much money we're going to get from this 1% increase, it's looking like it will hit the 5 million mark. So we now have several projects that have come from various committees. Some of them have gone to the city council, some of them are still in infancy. So what we want to do tonight is run through those projects briefly and just give an overview. If you have any questions for any of these projects, please stop me and just ask, and we'll talk about them as they come up. First thing to talk about is the overall proposed allocations for the 4 buckets for this year. This is still with the 4 buckets. They're on the book. I will read these for those who can't see. In the enjoy category, there's an allocation of $925,000. The renew bucket is $550,000. Identity is $1,025,000. Responsible is $2.5 million. That'll get you to the 5 million. Excuse me. So we'll break it down even further into each bucket. In the enjoy category, we have 5 proposed projects. One is the feasibility study for the sports complex and aquatics. Thank you. And aquatics center. Excuse me. The next will be levee trail improvements. The next is the all-inclusive park at Sokol. The next is a new park, O.S. Harvey Park. And the next will be improvements at Kentuck Park with the installation of basketball courts. So for the sports complex and aquatic center study, we're going to ask for a $50,000 allocation to complete that study. That should line up with a lot of the responses that we got. We got 10 responses from very qualified firms. The levee trail improvements, we're going to ask for $50,000. That will be to install lighting, potentially construct a new pavilion at the west trailhead, and also do some stationary equipment. The all-inclusive park at Sokol, that is a $250,000 allocation request. The O.S. Harvey Park for this fiscal year is a $525,000 request. That park, the proposed park, would include splash pads, basketball courts, parking, pavilion, and playground equipment. The Kentuck Park basketball court, that would be an allocation of $50,000. The next bucket is the renew bucket. There will be 3 proposed allocations from this bucket. First being facade improvement, next a business and job retention program, and then a demolition and blight removal program. The facade improvement program, I think many of you are very familiar. We actually had a first reading on this. The structure of this has changed since that first reading because of the revived Northport Redevelopment Authority. The funding amount is still about the same, asking for an allocation of $250,000. The next is a business and job retention program that would also be housed in the Redevelopment Authority. That allocation request will be $100,000. And as you'll see here shortly on your agenda, one important item is demolition and blight removal. That allocation for this year is $200,000. The third bucket is identity. This has 3 projects in it: the streetscape in downtown for phase 1, an education grant, and the community branding project. As mentioned earlier, the phase 1 of the downtown streetscape came about from an ALDOT grant. It has since grown to include utility relocation. This is a very large project, and the request for this year is $700,000. Another project that kicked off in the spring was a community branding and logo development. It, of course, has a few delays because of COVID, but it is back up and running, and we're getting very close to a final product. And that allocation request is $25,000. The last item in identity is the education grant. This would be open to K through 12 schools within the city of Northport for education program only, and that allocation would be $300,000. The last category, which is also a very important category, there's 2 items in it. Those 2 items are paving and striping. This is a $1.5 million allocation request, which would be on top of the gas tax fund for this year. This will help the city get back on track in keeping up with the maintenance of the roads. And finally, a $1 million allocation to the city's reserve fund. This will get us back up to the 10% requirement in the reserve fund. This presentation and some future project updates will all be on the city's website, and we'll try to do a good job of letting the public know whenever that is all available, and there will be individual project updates as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Max. Thank you, staff, for putting that together. Absolutely, Councilman.
As a member of both those committees, the Finance Committee and the Administrative Committee, and we've met many times, some of the things that stand out to me is that we're improving our streets and infrastructure. We're probably 30 or 40 years behind. We're improving our downtown shopping areas. We're improving our parks and making plans to enlarge our recreational opportunities for our citizens. We're improving our schools and many other things as you've seen from this. And these are the things, exact things we said we would try to do with this money at the outset of this program. I think we're right in line with that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman Hinton. Thank you.
I'll add to that. That last year, at this time, going into a vote for a 1-cent sales tax, no one ever likes to be taxed anymore. I'm very thankful of the mayor and council that we decided to do this, and we stuck by what we said we were going to do, and we're going to do things that people can see. There's a lot of things that we do up here on a monthly basis that people don't see, or it's just formalities on some points. But these are the items that people actually see with their eyes in the public, and I think this is what people are excited about. These projects here are what people want, and with raising taxes last year, to do this and to have that money set aside to spend only for these items, I think everyone will be happy with what we are doing and where we're going as we move forward. So I just want to commend the mayor's office and the council for taking that leap of faith and doing this, because that climate of raising taxes is never a fun conversation. So it's just my 2 cents.
That's your just 1 cent, not 2.
Cents.
It's just your 1 cent. I'm gonna wrap it up. On this one again, when we made the decision as a council and mayor's office, we knew we had to set out, like Councilman Hinton said and Councilman Hogg, and the other members of council at the time, that we needed to be, one, transparent. Our movements are going to be deliberate. They're going to be open as much as we need to be. I think the biggest thing in responsible, the city of Northport's in really good financial shape. We took a very common sense, kitchen table, conservative approach with our finances that still will allow us throughout the coming years, I think, to look at, refinancing bonds at some point, wrapping those in some wraparound financing to come back into some savings back to the citizens. So along the way, you'll start seeing some things that we can do in our finance committee and our finance department. But again, I really like the direction that it's going, and I really hope to see a lot of these projects completed. And then once those are completed, you'll still have that those perpetual monies, hopefully, to keep that momentum going in our city. Again, I'm very excited about the sports complex and aquatic center. Me personally, I'm ready for something to transform our city, and also at the same time transform what we should be doing anyway, paving and those things. So now we have a stream to pull from when people say you need to go pave X. Well, years ago we couldn't do that. You couldn't do Main Avenue years ago because it's to the tune of millions of dollars, but now you can do that. And leveraging some federal and some state grants, I think it's doable now. So I agree 100%. Council, you guys done a really, really good job on it, and looking forward to seeing a lot of these things come to fruition. So again, with that being said, this is a first reading by ordinance of a permanent nature. Again, this is the revision for the ordinance for the 1 cent sales tax revenue usages. So again, is there a member of council wanted to offer this for a first reading? I'll offer that for a first reading. The second item under new business is the first reading of the acceptance of infrastructure for 1871 phases 1 and 2. Mr. Varnon.
Mr. President, the council and staff would ask that you consider suspending the rules on this. Mr. Varnon can answer any questions.
Absolutely. All right, Doug. On this particular phase, I know in the interest of time and public health and safety, just give us a real brief synopsis on what your office has got so we can move forward. I know Ron's office has asked that we suspend the rules in the interest of time and public health and safety.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. It's in our subdivision regulations to formally accept the infrastructure after it's completed and substantially complete, and they have reached that with both phases of this subdivision. So it's more of a formality at this point.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug. And again, just as a point of reference, members of council, it has to have unanimous consent to suspend the rules. We'll keep that in mind. With that being said, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules in order to immediately consider the acceptance of the infrastructure for 1871 phases 1 and 2. Again, that's in the form of a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, staff. Third item is a first reading of a permanent resolution for a vacation of rights-of-way for Glory Bound subdivision. Again, this is Ron Davis and Doug Varnon's office.
Yes, Mr. President, again, on this one, we would again ask that rules be suspended. This has been advertised for a public hearing tonight. This is simply moving a right-of-way in a subdivision. Doesn't affect anyone except the owner of the property.
All right.
Pretty no controversy, but we would ask.
All right, Ron, before we do that, let me back up because I do want to formally vote. Now, we are under suspension of rules right now. Yep. So we're under suspension of rules for that second item. I'll make a motion to formally accept the infrastructure for 1871 phases 1 and 2. That's in the form of a motion.
Second.
That's a second by Councilman Hogg. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, third item is a first reading of a permanent resolution for vacations of rights-of-way. Again, this is Glory Bound subdivision. This is out of Ron Davis's office, legal, and Mr. Varnon's office. Again, this is a request in the interest of time for suspension of the rules.
I'll make the motion to suspend the rules.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Ron, will these need a public hearing to discuss these?
You can suspend the rules and then conduct the public hearing. And I apologize for jumping ahead of myself. I guess I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, we need to vote.
All right, so we're going to vote on a no public hearing?
No, sir. I would vote to suspend the rules and then have a public hearing.
All right. I'll open the floor for a public hearing as required by City Code.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we need to vote to suspend the rules first.
All right. Motion by Councilman Hogg, second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
All right, motion's carried.
All right, we're on the suspension of rules. The floor is open for a public hearing for any member of the public to address this item regarding a vacation of rights-of-way for Glory Bound subdivision. All right, seeing no member of the public wish to sign up to speak regarding this item, I hereby close the floor for the public hearing. Is there a motion to approve that resolution authorizing the vacation of public rights-of-way for Glory Bound subdivision in the city of Northport?
So moved.
That's a motion by Councilman Hinton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hogg. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
These next few items are out of our planning and zoning department. Ms. Ram will actually go through in the interest of time. These are first readings of demolitions of unsafe structures at various addresses. So, Ms. Ram, if you'll call them out, then we'll go through and we'll do what we need to do.
Okay. Yes, sir. These, the following locations or addresses have been deemed unsafe and dangerous to the public health. The planning and building departments are recommending the structures to be demolished, and those structures are 1103 and a half Bridge Avenue, 2109 19th Street, 4520 Magnolia Lane, 3700 28th Avenue, 1403 13th Avenue, 2835 37th Street, 3932 28th Avenue, and 3611 14th Street. These are all up for a first reading. We will have a second reading and a public hearing at the next council meeting.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ram. Again, these are first readings. Again, item 4, I will offer that for a first reading. Item 5, this is unsafe structure at 2109 19th Street. I will offer this for a first reading. Item 6, demolition of an unsafe structure, 4520 Magnolia Lane. I'll offer that for a first reading. Item 7, unsafe structure located at 3700 28th Avenue. I'll offer this for a first reading. Item 8, demolition of an unsafe structure located at 1403 13th Avenue. I will offer this for a first reading. Item 9, demolition of an unsafe structure located at 2835 37th Street. I will offer this for a first reading. Item 10, demolition of an unsafe structure located at 3932 28th Avenue, Miss Ram. Again, I will offer this for a first reading. And item 11, this is the demolition of an unsafe structure located at 3611 14th Street. I will offer that for a first reading. Resolutions of a temporary nature. This is a item number B1 is a resolution authorizing our city administrator to enter into an agreement between the City of Northport Fire Rescue and Dr. William E. Crawford, M.D., for a period of 1 year. This is, again, out of Chief Marshal's office. This is a standard contract and an agreement that we have. Chief?
Yes, sir, that's correct, Mr. President, members of council. This is a renewal agreement, so he continues to serve, and it is budgeted.
Thank you. Again, this is the agreement between Dr. Crawford's office and the City of Northport's Fire and Rescue Division through January 1 of 2021 through December 31st of 2021. He's going to serve or continue to serve as our medical director as required by State Rule 420-2-1.05, subsection 5 and H, and authorizing our city administrator to approve the appropriate requisitions and purchase requisitions as required. I'll offer that for a form of a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Bobo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Second item is a resolution awarding bid for a 1700 section of Northwood Lake Pump Station improvements. This is out of Mr. Webb's office. Mr. Webb.
Yes, President Logan. This item is one of the pump stations included in our 2019 capital improvement budget. This is one of the original pump stations in Northwood Lake, and we received some good bids. They were very close, competitive bids on this. And
that pump station is 40-something years old, isn't it?
Sure.
Wow. I'll make a motion to approve that resolution awarding the construction contract bid 1700 section Northwood Lake Pump Station Improvement Project to the lowest bidder, Double Diamond, in the amount of $189,000, and authorize our administrator's office to execute the necessary documents and requisitions to proceed with the project. That's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Third item is a resolution authorizing an agreement with ESO Solutions Incorporated for the NFIRS and HER compliant reporting software. Again, this is out of Chief Marshal's office. Chief?
Yes, sir, this is a agreement renewal for our reporting software as required for the National Fire Incident Reporting System and as for emergency or health or EMS reporting for both the state and for national. And this is for fiscal year October 1 through September 31st, 2021.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
Motion to approve.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing our city administrator to enter into an agreement with Nexsoft Cybersecurity Solutions, LLC. Again, this is out of our IT department, Mr. Murphy. And again, Ron, do we want to suspend the rules on this in the interest of time sensitivity regarding the...
If you wish to do so, you certainly may.
All right, members of council, again, we know the procedure. Again, this is in the interest of time sensitivity regarding the agreement contract with Nexsoft Cybersecurity Solutions, LLC. I'll make a motion to suspend the rules in order to immediately consider this resolution and this agreement resolution request. That's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
All right, motion carried. We are under suspension of rules. Again, is there a motion to approve that resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Nexsoft Cybersecurity Solutions, LLC, and allow his office to approve any requisitions pertaining to said agreement.
Motion to approve.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Bobo. She beat you, Councilman Hinton. She beat you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 5, resolution awarding big file 20-05 for water and wastewater chemicals. This is out of Mr. Webb's office. The lowest bidder again, based on that bid file for water and wastewater chemicals. We've got an attached bid tab. So, John, if you want to add anything to that.
Oh, yes, we have 12 different chemicals and 17 bidders, and we wish to award to the 8 lowest bidders tonight.
The 8th lowest bidder.
8 lowest bidders.
Okay. Thank you, John. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
Motion to approve.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 6 is a resolution awarding bid file 20-06 for water and wastewater supplies. Mr. Webb.
Yes, President Logan, these are a little over 200 of the most used bulk items in the water and wastewater department. Fire hydrants, fittings, water meters, water valves, things of that. We have the 4 various companies that were the low bidders in these products before you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Is there a motion to approve that resolution? That's a motion by Councilman Hinton. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Bobo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
7th item is a resolution declaring certain equipment as surplus and authorizing the proper disposal. This is out of Chief Marshal's office. Chief?
Yes, sir. This is 34 SCBAs, or our old self-contained breathing apparatus that are obsolete, and we're asking that the council declare these as surplus and authorize the city administrator to donate these to the local volunteer departments. We can't buy any parts for them, but they could get some use out of them.
Thank you, Chief. I'll make a motion to approve that resolution declaring these certain items as surplus as described and allowing our city staff along with the city administrator's office to donate these to our local volunteer fire departments. That's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hogg. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
All right. Councilwoman Bobo. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
And Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
8 items of resolution continuing the existing budget until the 2021 budget is approved by the City Council. Mr. Davis?
Yes, Mr. President, since this is likely our last meeting in September, this would allow the continuation of the budget until the council is ready to adopt the FY 2021 budget.
Thank you, Ron. Is there a motion to approve that resolution continuing our existing budget until the 2021 budget is passed by the council?
We'll move.
That's a motion by Councilman Hinton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hogg. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Consent agenda, they range from minutes of the previous meeting, bill listings, travel and training. There are 21 items and PO requisitions, again, through our Northport Fire and Rescue, our PD, and IT systems, respectively. Again, these are 21 items. There's a member of council wanted to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed.
I'll make that motion.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Bobo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilwoman Bobo. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 9, reports of special committees to council. If any member of council wanted to give a report from their respective committee or the mayor's office at this time. I would, if it did please mayor and council, wanted to give an update from retail committee. Councilman Hogg and I have been looking and outreaching to various, I'll just call it fast casual restaurants all over the state at the Levy restaurant. And I know we've got 1, maybe 2 that have sought some interest is a Top of the River restaurant. Again, if you ever been to Top of the River in Anniston, well-known, good price point. Again, they've sought some interest in that particular area of the downtown, especially on the riverfront. Retail committee formally asked the mayor and council to allow us to work with staff to do more specific outreach with Top of the River restaurant and another restaurant chain to be named later. Again, these are just going out in the field and seeing what shakes, so to speak. But I like to formally ask the mayor and council to be allowed to formally outreach to the owners of this particular brand and see if we can get them to make formal contact with our city staff so we can start a dialogue and interface with them. Again, this is at the Old Levy Restaurant, which is would be a very good location. Again, if it pleases mayor and council, there's not a vote needed. We just wanted to kind of get everybody up to speed and maybe have staff reach out to them formally. So again, that's my report quickly from the retail. I didn't know if Councilman Hogg had anything to report.
Oh, that's basically it.
All right. Any formal reports? Any further reports? All right. Item 10 is public hearings. We have none on the agenda. Item 11, city administrator's business. Mr. McCullum.
All right, Mr. President, I continue to be amazed at all of the accomplishments that the city is pushing forth, particularly with our buckets. We have, as was indicated, we're working with our committees to get the recreational or complex reviewed. We also are working with our contractor on paving. We have a very ambitious effort going on there, which is making a very positive impact on the community. We're going to continue. We'll need our public's patience and understanding. We're posting on the website some of these locations that may give the appearance that the work is complete when in fact it's under construction. We're doing some milling. We're trying to do everything in the right way. And I'm very pleased with the effort thus far. And as you can see, what we're working with in the Water and Sewer Department, trying to address some long-term concerns there as well. The Finance Committee is working toward a completion of a budget so that it can, in fact, be presented in October. But that gives you a little bit of a brief update of some of the activities that we've been engaged with. And I really do, I'm continuously amazed at the efforts that's put forth by your staff. They do an outstanding job.
Thank you, Hardy. Any further business? All right. Item 12, departmental business. We have none on the agenda. Item 13, we did have one citizen sign to speak, and I saw the young lady in the audience, and she may have left for whatever reason. Miss Montgomery, Miss Latasha Montgomery. She's at 2023 43rd Avenue, Harper Creek subdivision. I think, Hardy, she was asking more specifically on those trees in the back. Ms. McCullum, if you remember on 43rd, we were working with a property owner, like a private property owner along 43rd Avenue in Harper Creek. This is Miss Latasha Montgomery. I know she's probably had to leave for whatever reason, but I want to make sure we have it on record that we do have her signed to speak as a citizen to address the council, and it's Harper Creek trees, and these are the trees that kind of line the back of some areas of the house in that subdivision. But I will reach out to Miss Montgomery after the meeting and give her an update from Hardy's office. Again, that's the only citizen signed to speak. Item 14, mayor and council members' business. I'll start with Mayor Aaron.
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Again, District 1, Councilwoman Christy Bobo. All right, well, welcome. I'll say All right. District 2, under my business, again, I know Hardy briefly touched on it with city staff. They are doing a really good job, and I know we keep pushing them, and they keep working on behalf of the citizens. Also, too, again, you'll probably see some more movement. We finally got one big hurdle passed on MLK, so folks, you'll probably see that after the presidential election. So that project will start after the presidential election again. Cross one huge hurdle with SHPO, which is the State Historical Preservation Office. That was somewhat of a holdup, but it was more of a process with SHPO. So we finally got that approval. So you should see that project, council, move quickly. And I think we're doing some creative things with our county structure to cut down some of the project dollars on that one. Again, that's all I have under my business. District 3, Councilman Hinton.
This has nothing to do with my district per se, but it's been mentioned tonight about Tier 1 and Tier 2, and this is certainly under discussion. Personally, I don't see any problems with this at all, but we're having to go through a process, and we will get there pretty soon, I think.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. Any further business? All right. Again, Councilman Davis is not here tonight. District 5, Pro Tem Hogg.
Don't really have any business, but I do want to welcome Councilwoman Christy Bobo to District 1, and glad you were here tonight to accept the appointment and not just wait till November to be sworn in on your elected position, but we appreciate you jumping in feet first and getting ready to serve on the committees that we talked about, including planning and zoning, which I think will definitely give you every bit of knowledge you could want to know about the city of Northport. So thank you for accepting that appointment, and looking forward to next few months before the new council is sworn in.
Thank you, Councilman. Item 15 is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move.
That's a motion by Councilman Hinton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hogg. All in favor, please say yes.
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 All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.